Now let's dive and jump into the topic of DEI metrics with Laura Fernández.
Super. So, how many of you before I start are consultants? Hands up. Okay, 3. I can see the rest. Okay. The rest of you are working within an organization or part of an organization implementing DEI plans or creating or in charge of. Okay, we don't know. Manuel, Jessica, they're not there. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna let you do the path we did since 2020 till today to keep on going with what Stella was saying before, from data to impact, the power of DEI metrics. I'm really aligned with what she said. I'm going to show you what how was our path, the metrics we suggest you to have in mind, the findings, and the challenges. Okay, so let's go. Okay, what do we know? We know very little. That's the first thing. We know very little. You know that people of the cohort of LGBTQ is hidden, usually hide to go to work. Almost 70% doesn't say it in a working space. So we know very little how we manage that. What else we know? We don't know if they have disabilities, if they have functional diversity. Why? Because people usually don't share that. Oh, interesting. What could be that? Because they may think that they are going to be judged because of that, not because of the talent they may have. So basically, we know very little. So how we can manage, as Estela said, how we can manage something that we are not measuring? How we can measure that? Let's start with the why. We have tons of information. We are full of academic papers that says that we are that we have. Sorry, I'm going to put the clock. That we have a lot of reasons why to measure and to work with diversity, equity, and inclusion, to work with well-being of people within the organizations, because it impacts in talent and transnational rotation, collaboration, productivity, blah, 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 blah. We all know this. We know the numbers, 70% of sense of belonging when we have inclusive leadership. We know the decision-making improves 29%. And I'm not the one saying this. It's academia and those companies just in the below of the slide. McKinsey, Gallup, Boston, the big ones said that. There has been tracking DEI since at least 2013. So we also know which is the impact of non-inclusive workplaces. We have data, just talking about the people that is leaving companies because of they are not inclusive. Just in Spain last year, we spent, I say we because we are part of the organizational economic community. So we all spent 1.1 billion euros just replacing people that was leaving companies because of non-inclusive workplaces. I'm going to say it again. 1.1 billion just replacing talent. We are not taking into account how satisfaction levels are affected, how productivity is affected, how the process of the base payments that companies should do about the onboarding process. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about putting a new person in the same job position. Cisco, a few years ago, analyzed how much they were losing yearly because of disrespectful environments, that mean not inclusive environments. They identified that they were losing every year $12 million. Interesting. So we have the data. We know why we need to work with diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's beyond being nice with people, beyond a moral thing. It's a matter of business. So we can talk about business when we are talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So what do we measure? Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Who's there, what we're doing, how they're impacting. Social impact within the organization. Who's there? How is the people inside my organization taking into account what Stella says? We cannot ask directly some things. We need a third party to ask because compliance things. What are we doing? And how this that we are doing is impacting, what they feel about this, what they think about this. It's aligned with their concerns. They're aware of what we're doing. This amount of effort we are doing in this company is impacting the way we want. Why, how, where, who the most, who the less. That's important. So intersectionality, again, I'm a cis woman, I'm a mother, I'm a migrant, I'm plus 40. We start this in 2020 because I had just to choose of being plus 40, being migrant, or being a woman, just to know in which plan I should fit. And as Stella says, intersectionality gives you the right cohort to work with. If you know exactly the profile of people you need to work with, you need to protect, or you need to enhance their skills, it's easier, it's faster, it's cheaper. That's it. We have it all. So the problems, complexity. It's not easy. Where's the data? Around the world and nowhere. We have DEI silo management. What that means, that we have a gender plan, and then we have, for example, in Europe, LGBT plan. So if you're a woman, you cannot be lesbian. You need to choose one. Or if you're a guy, and you need to be hetero one, because if not, how I measure the impact of those plans if I am not thinking about the complexity of being a human being. Then compliance, of course, as Stella says, some things you can ask directly to your people, some things you cannot. That's why consultants are super important here. Consultants are the key for many companies because they can check that information. And then diagnosis, cost, and time. It's if you don't have the right frame, you can spend a lot of time. And when we are talking about DEI and when we're talking about the risks related to DEI, okay, we have to be very, very gentle in the way we manage that. That means that we should be accurate and fast. We need to have the information right in your finger as fast as you can. So how? How do you measure all that? Management policies and practices, diversity from this intersectional approach, the impact, inclusion, belonging, the race association, and at the same time, we reduce the time and the cost. Time is also money. So I'm going to share with you our journey. We start in 2020 when, I don't know if you remember this, the 7 ladies running the best performance in the world. Remember that? All around the media talking about those 7 ladies that were running their countries better than the rest of the males counterparts. And these are the only metrics they share. Numbers of death. Not policies, not reason why they apply the policy, no comparing that some of the countries were allowed to close completely the borders while others can't. The dependence of the international business model of the country, nothing there. But they were talking about this a lot, and a lot, and a lot, and a lot, and more. So what we thought was, okay, they are talking about women leaders because they have no news, because they're close at home. What is going to happen when they open the door, when they open the markets? Well, it happens exactly what happened. Have you ever heard about those 7 leaders again? Me neither. So if you don't have metrics, that is what happened. So what we made, we start searching something to reduce the complexity, to solve the DEI silo management and reduce cost and time for diagnosis. We find some things, not many things. We find that ISO was doing nothing at that point. They had not information, not even published the willing. They usually publish the willing of doing things. They were not publishing the willing of doing something regarding to diversity that appears in 2021. We found a lot of seals for gender or LGBTQ or veterans or disability, not all together. That means a lot of money and time and different metrics and different approach to the diversity. So we called University of Barcelona and we said, okay, we need to define a standard because there is nothing there. There's nothing out there. We want that standard based on international law, the most advanced law and requirements in each country, reporting requirements, and of course, SDGs. Okay? Of course, we want also for you to have into account academia. So they create the DEI Standard Index, and they gave this kind of standard. It was amazing, super cool, lovely, and you cannot use it because it's so fantastic that it's unreal. So we need to make an extra step. We had an amazing standard that was, and we weren't able to use it. I used to be a consultant. My 25 years of professional experience is being a business consultant. So I know that if I don't have the data, I cannot say no to my client. No, you're wrong. Why? Because I think you're wrong. No, that's not going to happen. So they gave us, this was a beautiful standard that we weren't able to apply because it has nothing to do with reality. So when we move on to a 3-step process, DEI experts, international DEI experts, to check what we are including, VP and C-level executives to check if the information we were gathering was okay, and then non-expert in DEI. Why? This point was a critical thing for my partner and I, because it should be cheap. Everyone should understand when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, what we are talking about. Should be very easy to complete, should be very easy to use, and should be available for everyone. Okay, so we complete this and we turn this amazing unicorn with wings in, let's say, maybe not a horse, but a pony. And that was fine for us. And we design technology for making it faster. As a SaaS for DEI assessment and rating, it gives you a lot of metrics, blah, 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 data-driven, impact factors. I'm going to talk about what we discover should be analyzed as a metric. I'm not going to talk about exactly what we have, because this is for sharing from data to impact and what we measure, what we have learned, but it's not a selling process. So I'm not going to talk about my tool. I'm going to talk about my journey and what we know. We think that we need to measure diversity, the maturity of management, the impact that you're having with that, what you're doing, and the risks that you're having at this particular moment in your company. We can put it with different names. You can create different frames, but those are the things that the academia, the DEI experts, and the VP and C-level says that it's necessary to have into account. It's beyond my own understanding of what we should measure. So when we talk about diversity, we talk about beyond the basics. Sex, of course, but companies already have sex, have generational, have functional diversity if they have a certification, if not, they don't, and nationality. But they don't have gender identity or expression or sexual orientation. And as Estela says, they cannot ask directly because it's risky. They may be sued. They are not going to be sued all the time, but they may be sued because of that. Ethnicity, appearance, beliefs, ideology, look, lifestyle, language, familiar situation, educational and socioeconomic status, and background. Why background? Because we have learned through using the tool and through the academics that there are some triggers in your background that make you feel different when you approach a particular situation. Just a very simple example, my example. As I said, I'm a cis woman. I've been a woman since the day I have appeared in this world. But I wasn't aware that I was a professional and woman at the same time. When I was 37, someone asked me, but you get paid the same as your male counterparts? What? Me? I have been in the gender equality fight for so long that I have never thought that that may happen to me. That has to be the way I see myself and the environment where I'm in. So taking into account all the information from the academia, we still keep on asking about not just educational socioeconomic state right now, status, but your background. But because that can give us critical information to the future to help you, the company, and any organization build more inclusive cultures. So this is a real example. This is what they answer. For example, in a company, more than 2,000 people, 42% females, 66 male, 2 intersexuals. They didn't know that. We have straight, we have LGBT, we have people with no sexual interests, we have appearance. We are not asking about if they are white. We ask about if they look like, because they're not going to be discriminate because the place where they born. They're going to be discriminated because how they look like, how we look like. I'm a migrant, but I look like European, you know, till the summer comes over and I'm more sunned. Yeah, but okay. Disability, 3%. You know what? It's different from the information they have. Interesting. They have less people marked as disabled in the company. Super interesting. Beliefs, socioeconomic status, descendants, 66% with kids, 83% are biparental and with the opposite sex. That gives you a lot of information because you don't focus on there, you focus on the rests. Political beliefs, for example, this is what we have. So let's talk about maturity. When we talk about maturity, we go beyond HR. Why? Because if DEI is an HR problem, you have a problem and it's not DEI. You have not understood what we are talking when we're talking about DEI. DEI is a business model. And it's not about developing the skills of my team. It's about having a team, and having a team is related to finance, to strategy, to operations, to marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So we go beyond HR and talent management. We start in strategy and corporate governance, governance, sorry, and we end in communication and stakeholder relationships. And we go through everything, politics practices, people, etc., everything. And then we deliver some marks at this ones. This is our tool. As I said, I'm going to show you a little bit. If you want, we can talk about that, but I want to show you what we have discovered, okay? So
Laura,
then,
Laura,
yeah.
thank you very much. If you continue, just please keep in mind that your time is almost up, or it is
I
up
know,
already.
I have 2
So
minutes.
I give you.
I know.
Gotcha.
I got it here. Thank you. Okay, about impact, inclusion, belonging, knowledge gaps. That's huge because it's very cheap, not easy, but cheap to solve. And priority gaps. Come on, priority gaps. You're putting all your effort in LGBTQ. You don't know how many people you have there. Do you know how they live in your company? But you're putting a lot of money there because it's something that should be done. And then people think that you need to work a little bit more disability, not LGBT. Interesting. Then what we have, for example, here, this is real life data. Are the 2% of the company was unable to be who they were. Safe space metric, this is risks. I need to run. Safe space metrics and risks metrics. What happened, when it happens, why it happens, what you think why it happened, and what happened after. What have you done, what they did, the company was involved, what it was solved, etc., etc., etc. And if you have the intersectionality, you can say, hey, watch out, because in this process, in the last 2 years, women sees mothers as me below 48 years old are having situations in this process for this particular reason. So you can go very specific. Challenges. Lack of management commitment. If you don't have the management commitment, you have nothing. Lack of follow-up. If you don't have follow-up, you go nowhere. And lack of resources. If you don't have resources from DEI and you need to have part of the budget of each division, you have a problem. So you need the governance to say that every division should give you a percentage of that. Make it not of the budget, but of the people, okay? Some areas have huge budgets, very few people. Make it a people thing. If they have 5, they pay for 5. Let's turn that into impact, and I'm in the final road. So where to start? Start making things the basics. Forget about the law. The law should be solved, so it's not your problem. If you're in DEI, the law is not your problem. They need to solve that. So enable eliminating wage gaps, equal opportunities, and elimination of class settings. This is the beginning. If you don't solve this, you can do whatever you want. You're not going to solve nothing at all. Okay? Then strength and prepare. Force interaction, make people know each other. If they know each other, they can respect each other and the tolerance appear. And finally, incorporate sponsors as a corporate value. If you don't have women in the room, incorporate sponsors. Push them to talk about the names of the women that should be there. If you don't have gay people there, make them appear. But you need sponsors, so you need to develop this. We, as consultancy firm, we don't do that. That's a consultancy aspect. You need to work that. Then, build an inclusive organizational narrative that encourage and foster inclusion, and what exactly is what should happen in this company. And I'm sure I'm ending, Barbara. I'm sorry. Just 1 minute more. Why I'm saying this? Because our data says, yes, I know. Our data says that people doesn't know if they have been discriminated or even harassed. That's huge. And this is it. 4 out of 10 don't know if they use inclusive language. 1 out of 10 don't know if they have suffered harassment. 4 out of 10 of those who witnesses or hear do nothing at all. And 1 out of 10 among those who has experience did not receive support. This is the narrative. Please work over it. And what's next? Relay on data. I'm sorry for the delay. Thank you for the patience. And if you want to be in touch, let's talk. The key is employee participation and watch out the risks of managing this type of information. Measuring is not control, it's intentional care. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Laura.
This is very important. This is very important. This is the last one. Okay, think about this. Consultants, you're almost all consultants. Think about this. Inclusion is a non-off switch. You cannot be in between. If you're not including, you're excluding. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laura. Thank